Hi there, guys. Okay, so last week I got a lot of requests to do a specific video on how to tell the difference between your ego or, your instinct and your intuition. So that's what I'm bringing you in this week's video. Now, there are very specific purposes for each, so I hope you'll stay tuned to learn more about it. Hi there, guys, it's Regina and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you are new here, please go check out my channel trailer so you can learn a little bit more about what I offer here on my channel. And for my ride or dies, thank you for joining me for another week. I appreciate you. And as always, I just want to let you know that I share the best insights and advice on mindset and intuition, primarily for my ladies, to, squash those self-sabotaging patterns that prevent us from being our best selves. So that's what we are all striving to be, as the best version of ourselves. So I'm hoping I can help you guys with that. All right, so some exciting news. I did launch my Sunday series of affirmations. So I hope you guys will join me every Sunday to listen in on those and hopefully get you pumped and ready for your work week, each week. So I'm hoping you guys will join me for that. But for now, let's get into this. The struggle is real, right? I know you've experienced the debate with yourself between should you go with your gut or go with your mind. At least I know I have. It is truly tough to distinguish between the two. A real tug of war. And the best thing we could do is develop the skill to be able to distinguish between the two of them. How can you tell the difference between the two and which one should you go with? Now, the big question last week was, are you listening? So we have to be able to quiet the mind long enough to be able to determine the difference between the two. Your ego, or as we call it, the instinct, or your intuition. So let's first get into how to tell when the ego is at work. All right, so the ego. Now, it is something else. And as I mentioned last week, it is there to protect you, both mentally and physically. And the ego is influenced by your past experiences, like your hurts and your fears. And sadly, it wants to hold you back because it's afraid. It doesn't want you to experience anything new or different. And it often sends you in a downward spiral of what ifs and doubts. And what makes it even more difficult is that it's so noisy. It often, just drowns out the intuition in you, and it makes it very, hard for you to hear or even listen to your intuition in most cases. Speaking of which, all right, so your intuition is quiet and silent, but it comes to you in the form of a feeling, a gut feeling deep down inside. It can be kind and gentle, and it typically wants you to operate in a space of positivity where you are at peace and warm and fuzzy at all times. So the thing about intuition is that you just know it. It's something that you just know. You can't explain it in any logical reasoning. It just gives you the confidence to make decisions, and you really just don't even know where it comes from, and it's hard to explain. The problem is that the ego is often so loud that it drowns out the intuition, and so it's hard to tune into it or tap into it most times. But you want to really try and develop that skill to get back to be able to do that, because it's usually leading you to the path or along the path of your higher purpose or your calling. So it's really important to try and make that voice, that inner voice, higher than the voice of your ego or instinct, because it is typically leading you in the right direction. All right, guys, so it's time for me to check in with you. So I want you to get in those comments and share with me your experiences with your inner struggles between your ego or instinct and intuition. And also, what techniques do you use to quiet your mind? Do you do meditation? Do you just basically say some affirmations to get you in a positive mindset and not thinking of the negative? Go ahead and share that with me down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys, so a few other things that I wanted to share with you were some tips on how to take away the power of your ego, because it can be pretty powerful if we let it. And we all know that it's not going to go away entirely, but at least we can recognize some ways to relinquish that power and relocate it elsewhere. I truly believe that it's the only way you can learn and grow and experience new things and allow yourself to be the best version of yourself and have an abundant life. So here are a few ways to recognize when the ego is at work and to take control of it and hopefully, decrease the power it has over you. All right, guys. Yes, my friends, the glasses are back. I want to refer to my notes on this one so I get it right for you guys. So in speaking about how you know when the ego is at work, the first thing would be fear. If your inner voice is coming from a fearful place or in an anxious way, you can bet it's the ego at work, because the intuition does not come from a place of fear. And another thing is scarcity. When you feel insecure or lacking or just have a scarcity mindset, that is driven by your ego, because your intuition is coming from a place of abundance, fulfillment, and just straight up confidence. So you'll know that in that instance, that is your ego at work. And also change. So fluctuating ideas, changing viewpoints and inconsistent self-talk about whatever it is, the decision you're trying to make. Those are the characteristics of your ego, because typically your intuition will be very steady. And another thing is externally. Your ego tries to boost up itself and make it seem so grandiose, and it typically, it will come with a lot of extras when the intuition is just like, it needs nothing more than the divine. It just is. So another thing is justification. So the ego backs up its decision with a laundry list of issues, okay? Just every reason why, you should go that route. But the intuition gives you one simple answer and there is no explanation needed. So you want to be clear on that, the justification piece and how that's coming up for you. And lastly is judgment. If your inner voice speaks from a place of judgment or comparison, then it's definitely the ego, because typically the intuition only knows love. It comes from a place of love, kindness, and caring and compassion. So I just wanted to share those with you guys. And another way that I've learned, and the resources in the link in the description below, but is a practice you can do to sharpen your awareness around your ego. And it's a pretty neat exercise where you find a quiet place where you won't have any distractions or any, interruptions, to quiet the mind, of course. And you want to have two statements, one true, one false. And you want to say them out loud individually. And when you say each of them, you want to take note of and tap into how the body reacts. So it comes from a place of a feeling of lightness and heaviness. So typically when you're saying, or you get that feeling of lightness, that is the intuition speaking to you when you state a certain statement. And usually that is the true statement that you read. If you read a false statement, you're going to get a feeling of heaviness over your body. And that is usually the ego at work, where lightness is the intuition and the heaviness is the ego at work. So that is a pretty cool exercise. And again, the link is in the description below for that resource if you want to try it out yourself. But the purpose of the exercise, like I said, is to sharpen your awareness so that you immediately know whether or not it's your intuition or your ego speaking to you. So I think that's a significant, exercise and something practice to take on, because then you can become more in tune with and develop the skill to know how to tell the difference between the two. All right, my friends, so that brings us to the end of the video this week, and I hope you found this information helpful. So please don't forget to share this video with those who you might think need it. And also go check me out on Instagram, where I post a few microblogs per week on intuition and mindset, and join my community of followers. And continue to send me messages in the DM, and also commenting on my videos and sharing what you'd like for me to bring to you each week. That is really helpful in my planning of content. And I also want to just make sure you guys are getting what you want from the channel. All right, so go ahead and check out these two playlists on affirmations and my quarantine series. And don't forget to like and share this video with anyone you may think would be interested. And go ahead and like this video if you like it, and subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I upload a new video every Tuesday. All right then, bye-bye guys.